Indie Authors Discussion is brought to you by Authors United Publishing. Are you ready to publish a book? Well, we can help. My husband Tim and I can help you get published and retain all copyrights and royalties. There are no hidden fees for what we offer. We publish, edit, proof, ghostwrite, and publish on paperback, hardback, Kindle, and Audible. We stay with the process until the final step is completed. We also narrate and would not be opposed to narrating your work. Our prices begin at $150, and for up to the maximum of $600, you get everything. So, if you're ready, message us anytime, and we can discuss what we can do for you. Here is Indie Authors Discussion with Tim, Lorie, and Elijah Simpson.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our show. I'm sitting in for Tim Simpson.
Hey, wait a minute. You're not sitting in for me. I'm sitting right over here next to you.
Oh, I didn't see you sitting there, dressed in all black. You think you are somebody famous? Dark in here. Couldn't see you.
And I didn't ask you to come in to sit in for me either.
You told me to come inside.
You've been camping in our backyard, living in a tent made of boxes and tarps.
But you said come in and sit with you.
Yeah, you can come in and sit and listen, not do the show.
Oh, well, you didn't make yourself very clear, did you? I thought I was gonna do the show because you were kind folk, letting me sit in your backyard and roast marshmallows, things like that.
I'm not even pressing cockroaches.
How dare you, young man? Don't you know cockroaches are gonna take over this world one of these days?
So I thought that robots were.
No, that's just a bunch of hogwash. Cockroaches, that's the future. But anyway, I want to welcome everybody. No, wait a minute. You can't welcome people to a show that you don't even do this show. But you asked me to. You asked me to do this show. No. I asked you to come in and sit in on the show. You could listen. I felt bad for you sitting out in the rain. I was doing just fine before you came. No, look. Okay. You can introduce the show. You can talk to Lorie and Eli if you want to, but you're not the host of the show. I'm right here.
There's a cockroach
I
on the
see
table.
that. Okay. I'll do the show. No, you're not doing the show. You're just gonna talk. You're gonna talk. We got a author coming on. I am an author. No, we've got a new author coming on, and she is going to be our guest on the show. I see. Well then, I guess I'll just talk to Miss Lorie over here. Miss Lorie, I've only been in town for a few days, and I found me a feller.
Oh my goodness, you did? Who is it?
His name is Buford something. I'm not exactly sure, but he said he's from Baton Rouge, not far from where I used to live, near New Orleans.
Well, that's real handy considering you live in Buford and you're dating someone named Buford. That's very convenient.
Pretty neat, right? Well, the problem is he's missing a couple fingers. He used to own an alligator farm. He's only got a thumb left.
What?
It's alright though. It doesn't imply the point anyway. But his name's Buford. He lives down by the river, underneath the bridge. But anyway, we got a special guest.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, Lorie, go ahead and introduce our author this week.
We are very excited to have Elise Kenney with us. She is from the UK, but she actually lives in Ireland. So we are very excited to talk to her. One of her books is called "It's Me You're Looking For," and it sounds very interesting. I'll tell you just a little bit about it. It's about Monica and Samson, and they start emailing each other. And through the emails, they can be anybody they want to be. But when they decide to meet, can what they projected in their email live up to who they really are? And it is a book about grief, friendship, and rediscovering love. So that sounds really, really good.
Yeah, it sounds real.
Does she have her books on Amazon?
I'm sure. I'm sure she does.
She sells the books in the Amazon too? I want my books sold in the Amazon. How do you do that?
We don't go to Brazil.
Brazil. What's a Brazil?
It's
Okay. That's enough.
Elise also has another book called Double Blank. And this one, honestly, has piqued my interest as well because it's about a 19-year-old, and apparently society is not particularly fond of him. So he has to hide his true self and kind of figure out what's going on in this world. And he's actually called a double blank. So it would be interesting to find out what that means. And it sounds very interesting because he's got to figure all this stuff out before his time is up.
That sounds pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to hearing. Now, where you said she's from the UK?
Yes, she is from the UK, but she actually lives in Ireland.
What?
And that's one of Eli's favorite places. So every episode now that we have an author on, Eli is going to ask the very final question, and no one will know what it is because he's 9 years old, and it can be anything, ranging from anything. So that'll be interesting, right?
So if you're following our YouTube page where all the podcast gets uploaded, I posted something, and if you've seen it on there, then yeah, you already know.
Hey, little person. What's a YouTube?
It's online something.
What kind of line is it on?
Offline on the internet.
The what?
Internet.
Is that a net like you catch fish in?
No, like Internet Explorer.
So, like Amazon exploring?
No.
Okay, Pat, that's enough. So anyway, so now Lorie is going to interview our guest from the UK. This should be fun.
Are you tired of plain, boring YouTube videos? Are you suffering from a content mundane viewing experience? Are you ready to experience something spontaneous and fun? Something exciting and new and not old and worn out? After all, how many cat videos can one watch anyway? Well, I'm here to help. My name is Elijah James Simpson, and I have my very own YouTube channel. The link is youtube.com/Elijah Simpson is funny. 1. I think cat videos are fun also, but really, if you've seen one jump 30 feet into the air, you've seen all of those. So, I'm prepared to offer my own quick and fun videos that will make your day so much better. And I promise, I won't try to sell you anything, well, unless you want cat videos. I can sell you cat videos, so look up my channel and leave some nice comments and subscribe. I promise, you won't be disappointed.
No cats were harmed in the making of this podcast. Okay, what you're about to hear is an original play that I had written. It's no secret that my favorite author and poet was Edgar Allan Poe. So when it came time to decide to write something, I wanted to write something in honor of Poe. So I took a couple of his stories, one of them, The Raven and The Black Cat, and kind of combined them two. So what came of that is what you're about to hear. As I remember it, it was on a dreary night in December, and as I sat pondering, I grew weary and tired. The late hour had come. As I recall, it was close to midnight when I heard. I stood from fright. I was nearly asleep when the knock came. My house was lit by only candle. Shadows were cast about the house and across the floor. I don't mind telling you, I was terrified to my bones. A chill ran down the course of my spine as I slowly walked to the door. I muttered, "Who's there?" I distinctly remember it being December, because I could hear the wind outside rattling the old dead trees just beyond the graveyard. The howls as if wolves were baying at the moon. Sent icy and settling filling up my already frozen limbs. Then, as if the wind had broken into my home, the rustling of my ebony curtains caused my bones to leap within my body. The shadows on the floor danced around me as if they were ghosts mocking me. I looked and I remembered the photograph on the table. My Lenore. So lonely was I that I felt as though I was a part of these shadows, the hollow images upon my floor that danced and mocked my suffering, knowing my love was just outside. It had to be her. My voice quaked, but I stood as firm as my shaking body would allow. Is it some visitor at this late hour? If so, I am tired and must rest. Forgive me for being impolite, but I must rise early in the morning. Then the knock grew louder. It sounded urgent. My curiosity began to take my good sense over. So I went to the door and threw it open. The bird flew past my head and perched above me. I stood stunned at the ebony fowl as it twitched and tilted its beak to stare into me. It seemed to look right into my very heart. Then, from somewhere behind me, I heard a voice from outside. A voice emerging from the cemetery. The same cemetery where my poor loved Lenore rests.
Sebastian.
I stumbled back, nearly tripping over the gold and red Persian rug that lay before the fireplace. I staggered to the mantel, only to fall to my knees. I knew the voice. I knew it was her. She was gone, yet she was out there. My heart beat hard in my chest, and my breath nearly stopped. I lost her. I watched as the angels took her from me. I had almost forgotten. But it was on a night like this, so many years ago. We were young and so in love. The tomb that I call home is our palace. A place of joy, but now it only reminds me of what horrible night that forever altered my life. The night she was taken from me. Nevermore. The word from this creature startled me. The abruptness of it. Then I turned to the raven. The audacity it showed in speaking such a word to me. You have brought her to me, haven't you? But why? So that I will remember my torment? remember the things that I have done to live in the agony of my past? I loved her. There was a love you, a foul creature, never would know. A love that even the angels were jealous of. That's why you took her from me.
Sebastian.
She sounded closer. I was frightened. I wanted to run and close the door, but my legs were frozen to the floor. Was it coming back? The memories going to invade my mind once again? Will I ever be free? Nevermore. As if reading my thoughts, it haunted me in that one word. I knew I was not long for this world. That one word of nevermore meant more than the bird uttered. Tell me, bird, what does it mean? What do you mean by that word? I have done nothing to you. It stayed on the bust and stared at me with glassy black marbles that reflected my own image. I suppose it was its eyes, and it uttered once more that haunting word, nevermore. Well, bird, you don't need to remind me anymore. I know what I have done. I know my sins now. Leave me in peace. Nevermore. Be that the final word of parting, bird. Now leave me be, please.
Sebastian, come with me.
I could take no more. I stood, ran to the door. Slamming it shut, I locked every bolt and stepped away. But the raven was still there. It hadn't moved, and had not a feather on its cursed head twitched. I turned, I looked at the evil creature once more. Nevermore. I asked you nothing, bird. I want nothing from you, and I will give you nothing. Nevermore. Let that be your final word, you cursed Corvus. I will. I was afraid to look. It was so still I could hear the heart of the raven beating. I know what I did, bird. I know what I did. But I am not sorry. She deserved it. Torment me, if you will, but I will never be sorry. I was not the only guilty one. I will not open the door to face the horror of my past. The knocking continued. It echoed through my home, and the noise drove me to my knees once again. I covered my ears, but nothing slowed the rapping at the door. It drove my mind to the days when we were in love, the days that I had tried in vain to forget, the days I want desperately to forget. Will this ever end? Will she leave me in peace? Will I ever be free? Nevermore. I could feel my mind slipping back. I begged my God to let the thoughts and memories pass, but they wouldn't. I buried my face into the floor to forget, but the knocking continued. I thought of opening the door to let them in, to let the spirits take me from my home. She is out there. She is in the ground. She is... I know it. But is she? Is she really in the ground? Is she in her resting place? Is she there? She stood there. She should be there. But is she there? The knocking made me remember. It forced the memories into my head, and the words from the bird violated my mind with images, things I had long tried to forget. It was so long ago, and yet not so long. It was when she brought in that cat, the evil cat that mocked me and tormented me. Its eyes were hollow, not unlike yours, bird. You cursed raven. It would stare at me in that same judging manner, and she would not do nothing to stop it. Nothing. She let the animal torment me. I hated that cat, the black, spiny cat, and I grew, dare I say, I grew to hate her. But why must I remember these things? If I do, then you will leave me in peace? Nevermore. Very well, bird. Let us remember together. Let us fight the demons that have tormented me for so long. You stay and listen. This is what you want. Then You shall have it, bird. This is what you want. I began to stand, my legs shaking. The knocking at the door ceased, and I found my chair. My heart was heavy at the journey I was about to undertake, but I sat and began. All the while the raven, still perched on the bust, watched me. It was only 2 winters back, and...
Darling, look at this beautiful cat I found. Or should I say, that found me.
Beautiful? That thing looks nearly dead.
Oh, pish-posh. It's beautiful. Look how the light catches its fur, making it look nearly purple.
That's crazy. It looks like it's been inside a coal bucket or something. I'm ashamed to admit it now, bird. But at the time, the mere appearance of that wretched animal made me angry. It looked at me just as you look at me. I hated the animal, but there was no way of talking her out of bringing it into our home. I wanted that thing dead.
I'm going to call him Roderick.
That's a terrible name for a cat.
Well, that's his name.
I couldn't escape the cat. Everywhere I traveled, he was there. I would go to the pub, and he was there. To the park, and he was there also. I felt as though I was losing my mind until...
Darling, have you seen Roderick today?
No, I can't say that I have. But he is a tomcat, after all, and sure, he's on the prowl, and he'll be back soon. I couldn't tell her the truth. It would be too much for her. I had to rid myself of the cat. It tormented me night and day. It invaded my dreams. I could see those green eyes when I went to sleep, and when I would awake, it would be staring at me from the floor. It was around every corner. I couldn't take it, so I snapped. I won't say what became of the animal, but I no longer was tormented. But then...
There you are, precious Roderick.
What? I mean, oh, that's grand. Wonder where the little skunk was.
Oh, honey, be nice. He smells terrible, but he must have had quite the adventure.
It was back. But how was that possible? I saw it die. I did it with my own hands. But it returned, and she became even more obsessed with the animal. It came to the point where the cat was sitting in my chair, sleeping on my side of the bed, and she left it, and she just let it do what it wanted. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to stop the cat, but then I realized the cat wasn't the only problem. It couldn't have been. It must have been Lenore. She must have somehow brought the evil thing back to life, brought it back to torment me. So I did it, bird. Is that what you want to hear? I did it. She and that cat were driving me insane, so I killed them both. But neither will stay dead. And now you bring her back to me? To what? To torment me? To continue the drive to insanity? Very well, bird. I will answer the door, and I will face my accuser. I will look at her. I will look at her in the eye and confess to her that I was the one who did it. And for that, I am sorry.
Come with me, Sebastian.
It was her, my beloved Lenore, standing at the door staring at me with her beautiful, beautiful blue eyes. Her hand beckoned me into the night. The name was given her by the angels.
Come with me, Sebastian. Nothing matters now.
I was weak from fatigue. I wanted to rest. I watched as her silken gown blew in the cold night air. I heard the bird breathing behind me. So without turning, I asked it, will I ever find peace, bird? Nevermore. Will I be free of this guilt I bear? Nevermore. I turned to face the foul creature to ask, then what is it you want from me, bird? What more? What more can I do? I have confessed my sins, and still you sit on your throne of judgment to pass sentence on me. What more must I do? As if a revelation had been revealed, the bird lifted from the bust and flew out of the door. I turned and saw my beautiful Lenore standing inside, her hand extended to me.
It's time, my darling. Let us go.
I relented and stood, but when I did, I looked over my home one last time, and then I saw it. It frightened me. My blood froze within my veins, the horror on his face, the contorted lips of anguish as if screaming for help. Then the realization that what I was seeing, it was me. The deformed face lying on the floor with its cold, dead eyes looking into mine. It was me. I'm sorry. Please don't take me. Let me have another chance. Let me live. Please, won't you just let me live? Nevermore.
Mystery, intrigue, murder, on the edge of your seat page turner. These are just a few words to describe the latest book, Saving Faith by Lorie and Tim. The small town of Mahogany Bay, South Carolina, is plagued by a killer targeting women. And now he has his eyes set on Faith Dean. Can the handsome detective Dakota McLean save Faith before it's too late? Or will Faith become the killer's next victim? Saving Faith is available on paperback, hardback, Kindle, and Audible.
Okay, great. Okay, yep.
We are here with Elise Kenney. She is an author from the UK, but she currently lives in Ireland. Thank you, Elise, for joining us today.
Nice to be joining you. Thank you for having me on.
I have read your book synopsis for both of your books, and honestly, they both sound very interesting. The first one that I would like to talk about is called It's Me You're Looking For. I really like the style of that, because I find myself, before I met my husband, I tried like Facebook dating and stuff like that. And I found myself being a little braver when nobody knew who I was, really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's kind of the fun of it, isn't it?
It really is. What gave you the idea for that book?
Well, I read about the 36 questions test. And it was sort of all in the news. I can't remember how many years ago now, but I just kept reading about it and thought it sounded really interesting. And I just thought that would be a great thing to use in a novel. And I quite like things like, You Got Mail and stuff like that, where there's a bit of mystery going on about who's behind it and stuff. So that was kind of what sparked the idea. So
I love that. And I love that movie as well.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
It is very good. Now, tell us about Double Blank. Now, that sounds very, a little more mysterious than your other one.
Yeah, it's a bit darker. So yeah, I've got I quite like it, a bit of romance, but then I also have a slightly dark side. So that's why they're quite different books. But yeah, Double Blank is kind of about a society in reverse. So if kind of there was female dominance rather than male dominance. And obviously, the world is changing, and it's obviously that there is a bit more equality. So I kind of went a bit extreme and went completely the other way to see how it would kind of feel to be a man in a world dominated by women. Because I just thought it was such an interesting idea.
That is very interesting.
So tell me, when did you realize you first wanted to be a writer? What prompted you?
Well, I've always loved stories. I didn't start school till I was 6, which is a bit unusual in England. It's just supposed to start when you're 5. But as soon as I started, I just loved words and stories, and the more and more I did it, the more I just loved the possibilities that it kind of brought to me. And I used to love parts of the day where I could sit down and kind of write stories in my little notebook and stuff. And, of course, you're just sort of messing around at that point. You're only little and stuff. But, I just realised that it just made me really happy, and I just really love writing. So as I got older, it kind of became, oh, you can actually write books and stuff. This is crazy. I didn't know you could do this. It was just the thing that made me the happiest, really.
Oh, that is very cool. Now, in your books, are any of your characters based on real people that you know?
No, I think all writers would probably say not really. And that's probably what I would say too. But I think, you take the good parts of people sometimes and put them into your good characters, especially, I think. So not totally, but I'm sure there are parts of people I know in there. And I do like to make my characters sometimes be the fan of a football team in London, which I support, called Arsenal. So I sometimes sneak that into a lot of my books.
That is cool. That is very cool. Now, what kind of books do you like to read?
I quite like thrillers, but kind of psychological ones. So that's kind of like the speculative stuff too. So things where something in society is a bit different to what it is in reality. Those kind of things, or where something strange happens is quite fun. But I do like a good romance too. Depends what kind, but I do. I've got a bit of difference in me. I like a bit of everything, and I also like reading poetry as well. So a good mix.
That is a very good mix. Do you ever experience writer's block?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think you can be a writer without having a bit of that.
How do you combat that? What's your technique to get past writer's block?
Well, I think one thing is that I quite like writing in different genres. So if I'm a bit stuck with poetry, I might go back to a novel. And if I'm stuck with a novel, I might do some poetry. And then it kind of breaks me out of it a little bit because I can switch between them. And then you kind of think, oh, I'm feeling a bit better now. I'm getting things down on the page. So, then you kind of slowly get back to it. But sometimes I just have to force myself to write something, even if I know it's not going to be very good, to get back into that habit, I think.
I totally understand that.
Because you're writers too, aren't you? So
yes.
I'm sure you've got some good tips.
Yes, ma'am. I have experienced a little bit of writer's block, and trying to get past it is a little bit difficult for me, but hopefully I'm on the other side now.
That's good.
What do you like to do when you're not writing?
Well, I have 2 young kids, so they're 7 and 5, so they keep me quite busy. But I also love going to the cinema. I like playing a game called netball, which is a bit like basketball, but not totally the same. And just traveling and seeing nice people, really.
Oh, that is very cool. So you're a mom.
Yeah.
That is great. And how old are your kids?
7 and 5.
Oh, good ages. Very good ages. Our son is 9. Eli is 9.
That's cool, and it's cool who's involved with this as well.
It is neat. It's a family affair type thing, and we really enjoy it. We have a lot of fun. To do
that's
that.
Great.
Let's see here. What else would you like our listeners to know, your readers to know about you?
Good question. Uh-oh. I don't know really. I try to. I like to laugh too. So I mean, obviously in Double Blank, it doesn't have as many opportunities for a laugh. But yeah, most of my other books do have some humour in them. Because we need some laughter in our lives, don't we? So
Absolutely.
Oh, are you still there?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Don't worry. So yeah, so that's one thing I guess they need to know about me. And I'm not sure what else I can say really, apart from I just love to explore ideas and kind of really get to the root of people when I'm writing. So I hope that comes across when people read it.
So, are you working on any new books at this time?
Yeah, I'm working on a thriller actually. So that's a bit different. It's about sleepwalking crimes, which could be interesting.
Wow.
And yeah, I do want to write another romance. I've started it, but I haven't finished it yet. So that's on my list.
Well, we look forward to that. Eli has the last question.
Okay.
So here's our son Eli. Elijah,
Yes.
do you have a question to ask Miss Kenney?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and speak up.
Okay. How is the weather like in Ireland?
Oh, good question. How is the weather like in Ireland?
I do want to say I'm not currently in Ireland. I'm so sorry. I don't know how that came across. I do have Irish family, but I'm not there at the moment. But I can tell you what the weather is like in England, if you like.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I apologize. That is totally my fault. I misunderstood. But yes, tell us what the weather's like in England.
That's no problem at all. That's a great question, Eli. It's quite rainy, I have to say. We are living up to the stereotype of England at the moment, unfortunately.
Well, that was a good question, Eli. Tell us where to find your books.
Okay, great. Okay, yep. Pieces. So
Wonderful. Well, we have really enjoyed speaking with you, and we thank you for being on our podcast. And we look forward to the next book that you're doing coming out. And we just, we really do have enjoyed speaking with you.
It's been lovely speaking to you all as well. So thank you for having me on.
That was Elise Kenney, an author from London, and her books can be found on ebook currently, and hopefully soon audiobook. So keep a lookout for that. So, Lorie, what did you think?
She was a pleasure to talk with, wasn't she?
She was, and what about that accent?
I love the accent.
And I'm such a fan of things, all things UK, especially London and Ireland. Some of my favorite TV shows, actors, and movies come from there. You know, Peter Cushing's always been my favorite actor.
That is true.
The old TV show The Avengers was one of my favorites.
Oh, Emma Peel.
Yes. Emma Peel. So we had a lot of fun talking with Elise. And be sure to check her books out. I'm actually going to get a couple of copies and read them myself. They sound really interesting.
And actually, it sounds like she has something for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, there's a book about romance, and then there's another book about, women in charge. Kind of like that idea.
I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. But it should be a lot of fun.
Yes.
So, if you get the chance, definitely check her books out and give her a nice review. And so Lorie has a few more things to say.
Our next week's indie author is Stephanie Rowe. Stephanie is a business coach and procurement specialist who devotes herself to inspire and empower people through her life, work, and writings. From a young age, Stephanie has written and performed poetry, showcasing her talent in various events and spoken word nights, including Queen Land's poetry. In her book, Fiercely Me, Stephanie narrates her remarkable journey through childhood, adolescence, and adulthood life with parents who struggled with addiction and poverty. Stephanie explores how she learned to overcome debilitating depression, the return of suppressed childhood memories, as well as severe domestic family violence and sexual abuse. Through recounting these raw experiences, she shows how the stories we tell about ourselves can help to shape who we become and influence others around us. By not shying away from her truth, she hopes to touch and help others in similar situations and work towards a world where these experiences don't happen. All right, here is the promo code for this week. Be the first person to enter this code, and you will receive a free audiobook from Tim. So what you'll do is go to audible.com/promo code. And here is the code for the United States. 5, C as in cat, S as in Sam, G as in Grace, 9, D as in dog, X as in X-ray, 9, 6, 3, P as in Paul, G as in Grace, A as in apple. And here is the code for the United Kingdom. 3, 7, C as in cat, E as in Edward, 6, 5, R as in red, D as in dog, C as in cat, X as in X-ray, G as in Grace, P as in Paul, 8.